I think most of us have played video games at least once in our lives, and it's really interesting that the technology has evolved that much so we can interact with something that is on a screen. Since they were created, video games have used music to make a better experience. As an example, we can use Pac-Man or Tetris, where 8-bit music was created in order to make a more immersive experience. Besides those two, there are a lot of memorable soundtracks of video games, and I want to talk about one of my favorites. This is the Legends of Zelda main theme, and as this is an adventure video game, the soundtrack has to be epic and heroic. This soundtrack uses a first flat, 7th flat, 6th flat, and 5 descending chord progression. And even though the soundtrack is in a B flat key, it borrows the chords G flat and A flat from the B flat minor key. This is a resource named Mode Mixture that is used in superhero and adventure soundtracks. So the result of this chord progression is a difficult to forget song that invites to an adventure. This is one of my favorite video game sagas, and the soundtrack is one of the main reasons. Another example of epic and heroic soundtracks is the soundtrack of the Uncharted saga. Just by listening to the soundtrack, you know that this is going to be an adventure video game, and in fact it is. It's a video game that pays respect to one of the film classics, Indiana Jones. Every time a new video game comes out, it goes closer to a cinematographic experience because animation is improving and the animations are becoming more real. And as a part of these new era video games, in 2013, The Last of Us was released.
Confirmed deaths has passed 200. The governor has called a state of emergency.
There are hundreds and hundreds of bodies lining the streets.
Panic spread worldwide after a leaked report from the World Health Organization showed that the latest vaccination tests have failed.
Winning the title Game of the Year and 39 more prizes, The Last of Us told the story of how humans would really react to a zombie apocalypse, showing the darkest part of themselves. A lot of people says that the soundtrack of this video game was the reason it won so many prizes. This soundtrack was created by Gustavo Santaolalla, an Argentine musician that had participated in other projects such as the movie Brokeback Mountain or The Book of Life. The soundtrack was mainly made by percussion and string instruments, and some of these instruments were slightly off-key to create a different vibe. There's almost no electric instruments during the soundtrack to give the idea that the human era had ended, so that doesn't exist anymore, and the only thing left is vestiges of what humans once were. The main theme is played by a ronroco. This is a string instrument originally from South America that is used to play hunting music. And Gustavo, instead of using a pick to play the rocom, he used his fingers and played an arpeggio. This is a completely different way to play this instrument. The result of this was a soundtrack that gives an apocalyptic and desolated vibe, a haunting sound that is keeping you alert, and the nostalgic feeling of humanity. An interesting fact about Gustavo Santaolalla is that he doesn't know how to read or write music, so he is completely self-taught. So this soundtrack was completely created by how he felt about the history that the directors of the video game were telling him. As a conclusion, I think we can say that video game soundtracks play a huge role in the experience, and as video games are becoming more and more a cinematographic experience, music needs to be there in order to make the video game better. Because as we've seen in the last few videos, everything is better with music. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.